Comments about other candidates are out of order. Please note that no campaign literature is allowed in this room or outside of the building. I would like to ask that all attendees, including our candidates, refrain from commentary, clapping, cheering, gesturing, or any other distractionary behavior. Thank you to all of our candidates, news, attendance of our regular community members as well for participating in this democratic process. And now on to the questions for council, your questions, your candidates. Thanks, Tammy.
Good morning.
Morning. So as we said, each candidate will have a 2-minute introduction where they can introduce themselves. Tammy, I'm going to give you 2 minutes starting now.
Good morning, I'm Tammy Caputi, and generally when I introduce myself to people that don't know me, I like to say that I am always running. I run my own small business here in Scottsdale. I run my 3 children back and forth to school and activities. I run marathons, and then I ran for city council after 4 years serving on our development review board because I wanted to be a positive, forward-thinking, balanced voice for the city of Scottsdale, and that's pretty much what I've been doing the last 4 years. So I always like to stay positive, and my first line is that Scottsdale is an aspirational city. We are the gold standard of the valley, and people pay a premium to be here. There's a reason for that. We have a winning formula. It's high amenities and open space, strong property values, low property taxes. And the only way that works, that winning formula, is by having a vibrant economy. The city of Scottsdale works on business activity, not bedroom activity. And it's basically my job not to mess that up. I think that every resident of Scottsdale deserves the best possible Scottsdale that we can have, including the next generation. So in my time on council, we've done some amazing things. We've managed to keep our budget in the black through a global pandemic and worldwide recession. We have fully funded our police department and also paid down their public safety pensions. We have increased high-paying jobs by 10% in the city of Scottsdale. We've gotten a handle on short-term rentals. We have decreased water usage while increasing population, which is incredibly brag-worthy. And we have passed a 10-year general plan, including education chapter, and we have approved only one handful of the highest quality development projects, all with measurable community benefit like open space and workforce housing for our first responders. Thank you. Looking forward to the next cycle.
Now our candidates will have 4 minutes for 2 questions. There are 8 questions that were proposed to each council person. They did receive these questions previous, so there are no surprises and no pop quizzes. However, there will be a 4-minute timer on each question. And to ensure randomization of the questions, 8 questions are listed on the card. So Tammy, I'm going to have you pick your first one, please.
Oh, that is really random.
Yeah. What'd you get? Yeah, there's other stuff on there.
Number 5.
Okay, if you don't mind putting it back in, or actually I'll hold yours so we don't, that's fine. Okay, question 5. Homelessness, along with panhandling, has become a bit of an issue in Scottsdale in recent years. How do you propose to address this if elected to City Council in Scottsdale? Also, address the bridge housing plan as it exists today and your insight on it.
Sure. Well, first of all, I've already served, as I said, I've served on the City Council for the last 4 years. So the question is sort of what we've already done and then, of course, what we're going to do continuing. I want to start out by telling everybody that we just did a point of time count in the City of Scottsdale. We currently have 89 unhoused individuals in our city. So while I'm not making fun of, any one is probably too many, but I just want to put in perspective that we don't have an overwhelming problem of unhoused folks in the city of Scottsdale. So we have approached this mostly by partnering with organizations that are capable of handling this problem. So things that we've done to date, we do, we're able to take people off the streets and give them daytime, blanking the name there, but a refuge during the day. So we partner with community bridges, and we do outreach and navigating and helping people get reorganized, offering them services, showing them ways in which they can get reconnected to the community. We also do navigation and outreach in our libraries. We also have our police department doing navigation and outreach to people out in the community. We do have emergency bridge housing program, which I'll circle back to in a minute. And we're also partnering with organizations, again, like Community Bridges, to help the community get a handle on it. We have a program called a federal program that gives funds as well. CBDG is the abbreviation, Community Block Development Grants, and we use those to partner with organizations like Family Promise that are actually making a difference in the community, taking people before they become homeless and offering them an opportunity. I'll circle back to the bridge housing program. Our emergency bridge housing program currently to date has had an 84% efficacy rate. We only serve Scottsdale residents, and it's been our elderly population and families with young children. There's a requirement for drug testing. There's a requirement that folks have their last address in Scottsdale, and the point of the bridge housing program is to prevent people from becoming homeless, because of course that's the least expensive thing to the city. If we can help people before they become a homeless problem, that's obviously the best use of our money. So we're doing our best to reach people where they are, to keep them off the streets. And again, the bridge housing program got overly politicized. We were never serving folks from the zone or, other cities, certainly not anyone from, here illegally. I don't understand how that got out of hand, but that was never our intent or the part of the program, and it's been, again, wildly successful. So I want to circle back to 89 unhoused folks in the city of Scottsdale. Scottsdale, I would suggest that Scottsdale is a leader on this topic and that we are doing an exceptional job. Of course, we'll never finish till we get to zero. There's always more work to do.
Wonderful. Would you like to pick another card, please?
Number 3.
Question 3. There seems to have been an uptick in crime in Scottsdale recently, from tourism burglaries to altercations with Scottsdale police. What is your stance on crime in Scottsdale, and what do you plan to do if elected to City Council?
It's very interesting that I got both crime questions, right? The crime and the homelessness. I swear I didn't plan that. Again, I'm going to start in the same way that I started my homeless comment. The crime rates in the city of Scottsdale are at an historic low, and they have been trending down since a blip in 2020. So if you speak with our police chief, he will tell you that we are at an all-time low and that rates have been trending down. Again, there's a lot of talk in the community about this sense that there's crime. If you look at our statistics, and we've spent an awful lot of money making sure that we have crime statistics and a software system that are incredibly sophisticated, our crime rates are trending down. When you have a high-profile case like the recent international crime ring that everyone heard about with burglaries, kind of laughing because that just actually, to me, that underscores how safe our community is, right? The one time we had this sort of home burglary incident, everyone is all up in arms, which makes sense, but my point is it's because not much else is happening, and so people directed their attention to that. SPD managed to get that under control within, 3 or 4 weeks, which is unbelievable, and that's because we fully fund our police department with whatever they need. I've done it in the last 4 years. I will continue to do it. I'm endorsed by both police and fire, and I'm extremely proud of that. We give our police department whatever they need to do the job, and clearly they're doing it. Again, crime rates are incredibly low. I think that we're the envy of the Valley in this regard. We've also got a couple of bond projects rolling out. We're going to be renovating a new training facility for our police and our fire. We're building a new real-time crime lab. So again, we have given them all the tools that they need. And I'll also say, oh good, 2 more minutes. I'm also going to say that this council's in constant contact with our police department, and if you ask our chief or any of our command staff, they will tell you that that's an incredibly rare thing. Most of the other cities in the Valley, there's there can be some tension between council and police department. In the city of Scottsdale, we really have an enviable situation in which we're all very supportive of public safety. And again, they have our backs, we have theirs. So super proud of the relationship. There's open communication all the time. And I consider most of our police department my friends. So I will continue with that wonderful relationship. Again, it's a two-way street. And I very much look forward to getting reelected and to being able to serve for another 4 years. It's extremely important that I think the reason for getting reelected is because the city of Scottsdale, the citizens of Scottsdale have already invested in me for the last 4 years. And I've now been trained up, the learning curve is gone, and I'm ready to hit the ground running and do more amazing things in the future. That list that I started with was just a small snapshot. And again, I'm really looking forward to continuing to move the city forward in a positive direction and make sure that we remain the gold standard for today and into tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time, Tammy. We do not have closing statements, but I really appreciate your participation. Thanks for coming.
Thanks so much.
Our next candidate will be Tom Durham, and we're going to give him a minute to come out, and then I'm just going to re-explain a couple of the rules since the candidates are in the other room. Hello. Come on in. Now, these aren't going to make speaker noise, but they are for our live stream.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, Tom. How are you?
I'm good.
I'm just going to repeat a couple of the rules. You'll have 2 minutes for an introduction.
Okay.
Karen Whitehurst will give you timer cards for 30 seconds, 15 seconds, and a hard stop time. No commentary about other candidates are in order for this forum, and you'll be able to choose a card which will dictate which question you get,
Okay.
1 through 8. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right, wonderful. 2 minutes for an introduction from Tom Durham.
Well, my story about how I came to Scottsdale, I think is always very interesting. I was the trustee of a small college in Iowa where I went to college. And in 2013, we always have our winter meeting in a location that's warm. It's better than cold of Iowa. And we usually do it in Florida, but in 2013 we came here, and I brought my wife. I hadn't been to Arizona since high school. My grandfather lived in Mesa, and I used to go there every year and ride horses in the pasture in his back. And we came here, spent a long weekend, and thought, well, this is really cool. It was in the middle of the winter, and so we were glad to get out of Chicago. I lived in Chicago. And within a couple of months, we had a contract to build a house. And as soon as I retired in 2015, we came here. My career, I was a lawyer in Chicago. I was a tax controversy lawyer, which meant I fight with the IRS. That's what I did for 35 years. I retired in 2015, and as soon as I retired, we came down here to our new house. So being a lawyer has been a big help on the city council because it helps me to understand contracts. Also helps me to understand some of the legal issues that we face on the city council. In my volunteer time here, I'm a mock trial coach at Sandra Day O'Connor High School, and that's really important. I've been doing that close to 10 years, ever since we moved here, and it's a lot of fun to work with the young people.
Okay, Tom, thank you so much for your response. And I'm going to have you draw a card for one of your 8 questions, and we'll begin.
Okay.
Oh, it's on the other side. I see it.
Number 2.
Great. Can you put that back in?
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, question 2. Short-term rentals have been a hot-button topic in Scottsdale for a long time. What is your stance on short-term rentals, and what would you propose to do differently if elected, if anything?
Well, I've been a very, very strong opponent of short-term rentals. I think it's the single biggest problem we have in Scottsdale because, I just can't imagine living in a house, buying a house, trying to raise a family, and, having garbage next door, late night parties, drinking, screaming, loud music. I get a lot of emails about that, and they're kind of heartbreaking, really, because they're people who just want to live a quiet life in their homes, and they feel that they're being driven out of their homes. I've talked to many people, heard from many people who are thinking of moving out of Scottsdale because they just can't take it anymore. So it's one thing that I've worked really hard on. It's been one of my main priorities on the city council. I worked with our lobbyists and our city staff and also the town of Paradise Valley to try to convince the legislature to give us more power. As many of you probably know, the legislature prevents us from limiting short-term rentals. We'd love to do that. We'd love to shut down the abusive short-term rentals, but the legislature won't let us. So what we've done, and I've worked with our city staff and lobbyists in Paradise Valley, is to talk the legislature into giving us more power. And 2 years ago, I think we were able to do that. We were able to get more power to regulate short-term rentals, to get them registered, and to shut down abusive short-term rentals. Right now, it's 3 strikes and you're out. After 3 abusive nuisance party violations, we can shut you down. But to me, that's way too many. 3 is just, that's 3 ruined nights for your neighbors. So that what we want to do on the council, and we created a task force to work on this, is to put even more pressure on the legislature. What we'd like to do is to put a cap on the number of short-term rentals, and we'd also like to put in some density regulations, because right now, especially in South Scottsdale, there are too many places where there are 2 or 3 or 4 short-term rentals that are right together. And we'd like the ability to, if we're going to have short-term rentals at all, and the legislature's probably going to force us to, then we'd like to spread them out a little bit more. I'm also concerned there was a new provision the legislature just passed, and unfortunately the governor signed it, which allows more accessory dwelling units in backyards. And I'm afraid that could lead to even more short-term rentals, because it will allow more people to build casitas or temporary housing in the backyard, and that would allow more people to rent those out. So that's a bill which really concerns me. We opposed it. I signed a letter opposing it, and I'm afraid that it'll lead to even more problems. So the city's going to have to write regulations on how that's going to work, and I'm hopeful we'll be able to put in some strong regulations to prevent too much abuse on that.
Thank you so much. Please draw another question.
Number 4.
Okay. Question 4. Road diets. He's excited. Road diets have been a controversial subject in Scottsdale recently. Please explain your take on road diets and how you plan to handle road diets if elected to City Council.
There's been a tremendous amount of nonsense on road diets. It's just total nonsense. I read a Twitter yesterday that I was in favor of 20 road diets in Scottsdale, and that's just ridiculous. We're not going to have 20 road diets. I also read the same Twitter said that I wanted to get rid of cars. And so I want to narrow the roads in order to force people out of their cars and onto bicycles. And that's just crazy. I live up far north, and there's no way I'm going to ride my bicycle down to city council meetings. So I'm going to continue riding my car. I mean, the truth is that we've passed only one road diet. And the facts are the people in that neighborhood asked us for it. They came to the city and said, you know, we'd like to make this road safer. And the city engineers went out to a public meeting, and the people at the public meeting said, yeah, we want you to do something about this road. That road was 68th Street, and 68th Street had 3 times the number of accidents as the average road in Scottsdale. And it was in the top 7% of accidents per mile. So it was a dangerous road, even though it's kind of a low volume road. And the reason it was dangerous is because there was a transition from 2 lanes to 4 lanes. As you went north, it transitioned from 2 lanes to 4 lanes. And as you were going south, it went from 4 to 2. And as people reached that transition, they would start speeding, they would start whipping around each other. And several cars had actually left the road, run into neighbors' yards, done damage to fences and so on. And this was all about safety. You know, we're safety first in the city council, and this road was a dangerous road because of the alignment, had a very high level of accidents, and the people there wanted us to fix it. So, you know, my rules on road diets are, number 1, the people in the area have to be in favor of it. Number 2, it has to make the road safer. And number 3, there has to be sufficient room on the road. This particular road was operating at 35% capacity, which meant there was plenty of room to narrow it down to 1 lane, which most of our streets in Scottsdale are 2-lane roads. And so there's plenty of room on a 2-lane road because the traffic on this road was so low. And there was a lot of nonsense about, oh, the police and the fire aren't going to be able to get through this road. And that was just more nonsense because, you know, I had the fire chief and the police chief in front of the council, and I asked them, if we narrow this, are you going to be able to get through and provide service? And they said, yeah, of course. You know, we've got great drivers. We can drive across painted lines. And that's all this was painted lines on the road. And believe me, the police and the firemen, they're going to be able to cross over a painted line. So this is the only road diet that we have voted on. And it's the only road diet that we're thinking of voting on. So this nonsense about we're going to put road diets all over Scottsdale and we're going to force you out of your cars onto bicycles, it's just nonsense political talking points.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. There's no closing statement, but we appreciate your involvement. Great job.
Thank you.
Our next guest is Mary Ann McAllen. Hi, Mary.
Hi, how are you?
Great, thanks. You do need to go back in. Thank you.
I guess you heard us in there. We were having fun
Just
in there.
barely.
Okay.
Did I send someone? Did she scold you?
No,
Just a little.
no scolding, but we were having fun. Well, it's kind of fun to get to know the other candidates.
Becca's the sweetest, so she couldn't scold. Okay, thank you for coming. The format for today is a 2-minute introduction of yourself, and then you'll be able to choose 2 of your questions from the selected 8 out by random with the cards. No commentary is allowed, or is commentary about other candidates is out of order. So please just stick to your questions and your opinions and what you will do. All right, so your 2-minute introduction. Mary Ann, you may begin.
Okay. Well, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Mary Ann McAllen. I grew up in South Scottsdale, and I've lived here for 59 years, married to my husband, Sam. Hometown girl. I met my husband while working for the city of Scottsdale. I am a lover of Scottsdale. First and foremost, that's why I'm running. I have a passion for the city. I went on a tour of the newly constructed Civic Center when I was in grade school and fell in love with it. And the rest is history. I was kind of a student council geek as a kid. I've been in leadership roles at the city. I used to work for the city for a decade and a half. My passion for the city is real. I grew up here. I love my city. It's not a political ploy. I don't have an axe to grind. I want to make the city, I want the city roots to stay. I don't want them to go away. I want people to love the city the way I love the city, and hopefully that will come through when I'm elected.
Thank you very much. You can go ahead and select a card if you're ready for questions.
Has everyone got the same question every time?
No,
That'd be
actually,
funny,
we've
wouldn't
gotten
it?
4 unique ones
Oh, watch
so
me
far.
get those. Okay, mine's question number 8. It says
8.
Question number 8. I don't remember. Question number 8, and you're going to have to tell me.
Question 8. The 2023 Scottsdale Community Survey showed a decrease of 10% for the number of residents rating their cost of living as excellent or good. Of special concern was the affordability of housing and childcare. Do you think this is something that can or should change? And if so, what is your approach if elected?
Okay. So yes, the cost of living obviously has gone up, especially since I was a kid. To think that when my parents bought their house, I think they paid $12,000 for it in South Scottsdale. To buy that same house now is about $700,000, and that's happened over 59 years. So affordable housing, my background with the city of Scottsdale is human services. I ran the Violanda Senior Center and the Downtown Senior Center that no longer exists. It's a flat parking lot. I'm not sure if you're aware of that, across from the Center for the Arts. That being said, our human services department does an excellent job of looking out for those who can't afford to live in Scottsdale any longer, who may have been a senior here, who is now outpriced by the market. Our social services are very, very important to our citizens. We need to figure out a way to keep affordable housing that does exist, keep it here, and then build up. I was very disappointed to see the Paiute Center, the senior housing, fall to the wayside because of losing the money from the county. That being said, we have to work to help the workforce housing, hopefully not necessarily incentives, but encouragement, working with developers to help them understand if you want to build housing here in Scottsdale, it has to be accessible for the people who work and live here. And I would work to make sure that businesses understand what our city needs are, not just their needs, but where they fit into our city. And if it's not a good project that doesn't work for our city, then we shouldn't be investing our time in it. That's how I feel.
Do you have any other commentary for that question? You don't have to.
No.
Okay, perfect. Would you like to draw another card?
Was that a trick question? Should I have said more? I'm kidding.
No.
I'm kidding.
No.
I'm kidding. Number 3.
Okay, question 3. There seems to have been an uptick in crime in Scottsdale recently. From tourism burglaries to altercations with police, what is your stance on crime in Scottsdale, and what do you plan to do if elected to City Council?
Okay. Well, kudos to our police department for catching that ring, that nighttime burglary ring. That being said, I think Scottsdale is as safe as it's ever been from when I was a kid. Yes, there's crime. There's crime in, heavily, the district, let's say the downtown bar district. Let's hit that nail on the head. Yeah, there's a lot of crime there, but we have a special enforcement team there. Those are the type of things. Neighborhood policing is extremely important. I grew up with John Coca, who used to be the assistant chief of police. I have a long history here in Scottsdale. Community policing, making sure that neighborhoods are friends with the police officers is very, very important. important in the matter that when I worked in human services, when I worked in the recreation department, we had police officers coming into our community centers, working with the kids, knowing the kids. I would encourage the school district to continue the SROs. The resource officers are very important. So, and I don't know if you know this, the city of Scottsdale is the only metropolitan city that has a program for teens. If they get in trouble first time around, the city puts them on, like community service. They actually help students who may have made a bad mistake. So it's called the Restorative Justice Program. We're the only city that does it. I think that should be celebrated. That being said, we need to continue funding our police. We need to make sure that the residents understand that they are accessible. Our police chief, Walter, he has done a great job of getting out into the community, talking to the citizens. We just had a coffee with them at Schmooze. There was one up north. It's important that they understand that the resources they have for the citizens, but that the police are here to be, supportive of the citizens and to make sure that crime doesn't infiltrate our city. I think that we are in good hands.
Okay, if you would like, I can ask you another question.
Certainly.
Okay, go for it. Pick your,
I may be
pick your
sorry.
poison.
I have 2 minutes, she said. 6. Okay, I'll hurry.
Question 6. Small businesses are the lifeblood of our community. As more and more larger companies, headquarters, and development come to Scottsdale, what do you believe the city can do to support and grow small businesses in Scottsdale?
Okay, so I work for Hospice of the Valley currently full-time, but I am a small business owner. I own an antique business here in Scottsdale. My parents were small business owners here in Scottsdale. I think it's the lifeblood of the community. It continues that tradition of who we are, knowing who owned what business. Being here 59 years, there are some people go, oh, I remember what that used to be. I can look at it and go, I can tell you 5 other businesses that were there. So we need to continue that type of support of our small businesses and make sure that people are willing to build up our city, especially in areas that may be a little, in need of a little sprucing. We should encourage that.
Thank you so much, Mary Ann.
Absolutely.
We've enjoyed having you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our next candidate is Adam Quasman.
Hi, everybody. I'm Adam.
I'm going to have you hold this, even though it doesn't really project your voice, but it's for the live stream. Thanks, Adam. Okay, let me explain the format. You get a 2-minute introduction. Karen Whitehurst will be our timer. She'll have cue cards for you. And then each question you have up to 4 minutes to respond, with a stop sign as a hard stop for time. Commentary on other candidates is out of order. Are you ready?
Hit me.
Go ahead and give your introduction. Adam Quasman.
Hi, everybody. I am Adam Quasman, and I have been a resident of Scottsdale for about a decade. My children are all born at Scottsdale Shea. I have 4 little ones. I'm a husband and a father. I own a boutique personal injury firm in Scottsdale, created jobs in Scottsdale, proud resident and former Arizona legislator. I used to serve in the State House, where I was the vice chair of the House Ways and Means Committee. I also sat on Appropriations, Commerce, and the Joint Legislative Budget Committee. If there was a dime of your money going into the state of Arizona, it came through me to be spent responsibly and making sure that Arizona has grown. And you could see the outcome speaks for itself. How Arizona has done in the last 10 years has been tremendous, and Scottsdale was very much a place that my wife and I wanted to make our home. And you could see the proof is in the pudding here. I think we could always do better. I'm proud to have gotten into this race and see that there are so many wonderful candidates who are working together across party lines in a nonpartisan fashion to make sure that this is the best place to raise a family, And I really see this as a family-first approach. This is if you were to tagline my campaign, if you were to think Adam Quasman, what's his stance? Families first, and that Scottsdale is for families. It really is the crown jewel of the state of Arizona. I'm very grateful to be here and looking forward to answering your questions.
Fantastic. Thank you for your introduction. Go ahead and draw your first card.
Okay.
Question 4. Road diets have been a controversial subject in Scottsdale recently. Please explain your take on road diets and how you plan to handle road diets if elected to City Council.
There are those who say that there is no such thing as road diets. There are those who say that there are road diets. I'm not going to mention any other candidates, but I will mention 2 city councilmen who have endorsed my campaign. That is Barry Graham, who's in this room today, as well as Kathy Littlefield. One of the reasons why they were elected is because residents demanded to make sure that this city maintains the traffic flow and character that we expect. Everybody in this room knows that roughly 10 years ago, it took about 12 minutes to get from where we are sitting to Kierland. And everybody knows about, in the last few years, it takes about 20 minutes to get from, at best, let's be honest, at best, from this room to Kierland and Scottsdale Quarter. This is a commuter city. I do not believe anybody in this room is a regular user of public transportation, of buses, or is going to travel if they live in Old Town Scottsdale to North Scottsdale by bike in July from here to there, right? We could all just be honest. These are not partisan issues. This is just common sense, right? So we live in a commuter city, and for me, again, Adam Quasman is a family-first approach. Every moment that I am in my car waiting for traffic to clear so I could get home is a moment I am not reading to one of my 4 children before bed or being at home at the dinner table. I see any policy through that lens. And if you know me, there's many in this room that know me, that's exactly how I talk when I'm not on stage. This is how I talk about family all the time. Scottsdale's for families, the family-first approach. So when it comes to any type of lane narrowing, for whether it's for bicycles, whether it's for public transportation, let's be honest of what that is. I have a master's in economics. I was taught by Nobel Prize winners, and it doesn't take a Nobel Prize winner to know that if you narrow a lane of supply with the same amount of demand or an increasing demand, you're going to have an increase in price, and price is in this world traffic, right? So any dad, any mom in this room knows that if we take a non-family approach and we narrow roads, we're going to have more